Last time that we spoke, we basically went into quarantine, and then from there, what you guys missed was an alignment and us prepping the car to get ready for testing that kind of never happened. So now we finally got a little bit of an opening with Texas going into like whatever you want to call it, stage 1 of opening up. And so we're headed down south to go drifting with Danny Puckett in a very small group. Dude, the quarantine's been tough. I mean, I can ramble on about it, and I know we're all going through the same thing, but definitely had a few weeks where everything was really slow and a little bit depressing. And then I just kind of decided to keep moving, keep my head down, and I just started working on some 144 merchandise just to kind of like keep busy. Thanks to everybody buying that stuff and supporting us. It's like got me out of bed a few times. The alignment went super smooth. The only adjustment I wasn't able to get out of the car was my front camber. So if you guys look at the car and you're like, holy shit, that dude's running some camber, I'm running 8 degrees. And we were aiming for 4.5. But with me wrecking in Seattle, plus a few other wrecks, this chassis is kind of on its grassroots approach. So there's not much we can do to, get like a pro spec alignment. Hopped in and out of an alignment, came back to the shop, tightened up a few things, and then now we finally get to go test. This track we're going to is going to be like a bit tighter or like smaller, if you will. But what's super cool about it for me is, if you guys remember the Endless Search for Tires 2019 when it started, this is where I started. It was the first time to drive after coming out of the print shop at Rhythm, and then again after coming out of quarantine, it's the first time to drive. So a little nostalgia there, because that's where kind of I got back into drifting, if you will, and then now we get to do it again. This testing session was the first time to run this motor, right? So quite a bit of changes there. And for me, I just literally was trying to take it like a set of tires at a time. And the first set of tires was just drive the car, feel it out, make sure the car stays cool, fuel, and oil was kind of my mindset on the first set of tires. Right off the bat, I noticed that the steering basically had what felt like some air pockets in it. So the goal was to kind of run around the track and see if that would kind of bleed itself out, because the MR2 pumps should self-bleed. Nothing's loose, right, physically. Like, we double-checked everything, it's all good. Just there's some sort of air or chatter going on. So I could get through it. It was something that we knew we were gonna swap, but with the timing of the day, it just didn't really we didn't have that part to swap right there. So yeah, working around that was kind of difficult. And I remember that being something that I had to keep thinking about. Drifting out there, I'm definitely trying to put the motor to the test. And then from there, it's kind of like my job to try to break the car on testing. That way we can make sure it holds up.
What gear are you in? Third, second, third, fourth.
The new motor feels rad. I'm trying to think about like the highlighted points behind it, but basically in drift, I feel like I'm definitely making a lot more use of the power. So like on paper, we lost power, but behind the wheel, it feels like I gained power. When you're thinking about testing a motor out, it's just like, does it have fuel? Does it have oil? Is it staying cool? Like none of that was a problem. And straight out of the box, for that to be not a problem is rad. Like, thank you to Golan for putting together such a fucking awesome package. Gearbox kind of had a little bit of clinking under braking, like, and I would just slam on the brakes and you can kind of hear something loose in the transmission.
Like something's like clinking. It's like metal. Well, we can take it back, put it up.
If I wouldn't have pulled up to the tent so far and needed to reverse out, I might have never known that reverse was not working. But yeah, it seemed that reverse wasn't working, and then I started to kind of hear the reverse fork flopping around in the trans tunnel. If the gearbox isn't making a noise and the steering feels solid, I could focus more. So with those two things kind of going on, it was just difficult to focus. following Max, and in fourth gear, my car just locked up and kind of shut off, which I realized it fell into reverse. So pretty wild. Nothing gnarly was damaged, so the fork was loose and it was just floating, which ended up ending our session. I'd say overall it was a super fun day. We made some progress, and coming back to the shop and fixing a few things, next time will be a lot better. It would be nice to test one more time before I enter in like a competition. So we might have an opportunity. There's a Lone Star Drift event out here down in Houston, so maybe we're gonna go there. But for the most part, like with the steering being fixed and knowing the motor is running super solid, I feel confident that we could go somewhere and drive with no problem. Super humbled to drive the car again. Thanks to Danny for inviting us out to Club Loose. Really excited that we had very minimal issues, and then we've already come back to the shop and been able to sort those out. So looking forward to getting back in the car and do our best to keep these videos coming.